most people who are in our profession, they look at processors as a subordinate. And when I'm talking about subordinate, man, like subordinate is an assistant. And what we have to realize, and we got to step back and kind of check our egos at the door, is that our loans, our transactions, they don't go far if the processor, don't do what they need to do, right? So when we hand the baton off to a processor, we're literally handing our paycheck to them and saying, hey man, you need to do X, Y, and Z in order for me to get paid, in order for this loan to get closed. But you see, the problem is that a lot of loan officers, they don't look at it that way. And so when they communicate with their processor, how they talk to them, number one is like, hey, what do I need to do to get this forward? Or hey, how come it's taking so long to get to the next step? You're talking to them like they're your little brother, they're your little sis. And what you need to remember is that these people are people, especially right now, they're frustrated, right? And so if you talk to them with kind of like this, like I want to say like they're your assistant, like they work for you, chances are they're not going to really listen to you or engage with you or do what you need them to do. Does that make sense? And so you need to check yourself on how you communicate with them. Because if you communicate with them in a different way, they'll do what you need them to do. And you need them to do what you need them to do because that's directly tied to your paycheck. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of salespeople that have too much pride, that think they're the reason why loan processors have their job. But if you could take a step back and really talk to them like they're an equal, like they are your partner or they're your coworker, you'll increase your likelihood of getting them to do what you want them to do. And what do we want them to do, right? We want them to treat our file like it's VIP. And how do we do that? Well, how we do it is we don't talk to them like they're our subordinates. We don't talk to them like they're our assistants. How we do it is we talk to them like we're helping them. You see what I'm saying? And this will apply to anything. So it's just not processors. This is your wife, your husband, your kids, your manager, your neighbor, whoever it is. You need to talk to them in a certain way to get what you want done. You always want to communicate with whoever you're communicating with an incentive for that person. So whether it's your customer or whether it's your borrower or your client, you want to talk to them with an incentive, meaning that, hey, if you do this, I'll hook you up, right? And so let me give you an example. So most loan officers, when they talk to their loan processors, how it sounds like, and if this is you, admit it, you got to own it. So when they talk to the loan processors, it's more like, hey, it's been in process for like 60 days. Why is it taking so long, right? Like, what do I need to do to get it through? Number one is you insulted them. Number two is there was no empathy. But number three is when you talk to them like that, it's like there's no appreciation, right? So they look at you like, this dude. You know what I mean? Like, you got to admit it too. If you got someone talking to you like that, like a customer, what do? You know what I mean? Like, this, right? To be honest, to be real, and I know a lot of you guys don't really like curse words, but I'm trying to emphasize the emotion that you feel behind it. So what if you switched up the language or the communication in a way where it sounds like this? Like the processor's name was Jenny, right? Like, hey Jenny, I got an appointment with Jim at 3 p.m. today. Is there anything that I could fetch you to help you move this off your desk? Now that's a different technique. And the reason why I say fetch is because I want that person to think that they're the boss. Because guess what? If they feel like they're the boss, what they're gonna do is they're gonna take pride and ownership in that communication. So they're gonna tell you like, yeah man, go fetch me blah, 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 blah. I'm cool with that. You know why? Because if I get that person what they need, they're gonna move my file to the front of the line, right? And if my file moves to the front line, that's one step closer to funding that deal. So you gotta think about that. And don't have too much ego to a point where you talk to them like you're cooler than them. You got to talk to them like you are a partner, and they need to feel that, because what happens is you're going to work with that person more than once, and you need to get that person on the level where they love you, because if they love you, they'll look out for you. Every single processor that I work with right now, they love me, and guess what that earns me? It earns me priority. And so they'll push my files at month end. I don't even need to ask for it. It's because all I do is treat them with respect. I treat them differently than any loan officer or any salesman treats them. And that pays me in tenfold because I get my deals done. They do work that I don't need to do anymore. So what I'm saying is you need to understand the people who plays an important role within your process.